On today's podcast, I had Los Silva on. Los owns many different brands that are generating over $70 million a year in revenue. And in this podcast, we talked about what it takes to build a brand like that. Not only just a normal brand that's either an ecom business or maybe a digital product business, but also building a personal brand. And, it's really cool to see guys like him who've been doing it for 15 plus years, kind of understand that the market is always shifting. He got started actually becoming the second biggest Bose speaker distributor in the world as a 20-year-old. Pretty crazy how he stumbled into that. But, going from just doing pure e-com sales and paying for advertising, all these things, to now kind of switching gears and going to the organic personal brand route and the content marketing route, and just kind of merging those two skills together to build these really big brands. So if you are an entrepreneur or an investor or somebody who's in e-com thinking about building a business, you don't want to miss out, because we go over a lot of different tactics that will help scale your business to the next level. So with all that being said, let's hop into it.
Welcome to the Ryan Pineda Show, where our mission is to invest,
I only expect to make money in things that I understand.
innovate,
It's about believing in the future and thinking that the future will be better than the past.
and inspire.
I am much more likely to hit my goal just due to putting it out there.
You're now rocking with the best.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Ryan Pineda Show. Today, I've got the master of building brands from scratch, helping brands scale to the next level. This man has ownership in brands that are doing over $70 million in revenue this year. I've got none other than Los Silva. What up, man?
What's up, man? How are you?
Happy to have you here in Vegas, man.
Yeah, happy to be here, dude. It is hot.
I know.
I'm from Florida, but this is like a different kind of heat.
You live in Florida now?
I live in Orlando. Yeah, our main office is in Orlando, and then we have another one in San Diego, and then my other partner, Josh, is in Arizona.
Got it. Yeah, I might have to come see. I'm going to Patrick Bet-David's in like 2 weeks.
Nice, dude. We were just talking to him about maybe doing a podcast together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a good dude. I'm excited for that one. But anyways, so, I've met you a couple of times at various events and stuff, and, I've seen you on social, and we've chatted about different things, and, you've been gracious enough to help us, run ads and different things. But, as you got in here, I was like, you know what, Los, I still don't even really know what you do. Like, what exactly do you do?
It's hard to say now, 'cause I started online flipping video projectors and Crown Victorias on eBay at 20 years old.
You're flipping cars on eBay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't know what I was doing. And then from there, I took it to electronics. I became a distributor for Bose audio speakers. Everybody knows what that is. You could sell them at a MSRP, right? Minimum advertised price. I was selling them a little bit under on eBay. I was a kid. I was 20 years old. And I became one of the largest Bose distributors in America. It was like me and Best Buy. It was like really, really big. And so from there on, I ended up figuring out, like, all right, what's the arbitrage, right? Like, what's the most I can get on eBay? And it was electronic products. Then one day eBay stopped. It was an algorithm change, but I didn't know what that even meant. And so I had a good amount of cash flow with me. And so I started buying directories for homes, like home builders, designers, etc., and calling them, and cold calling them, and being like, hey, I've got all these electronics. I'd love to build a showroom in your place for free. It took me 9 months to get my first customer after that. But my first customer was a company called Ethan Allen, which is a national chain. And so my first deal from there, the deal we made, was like, I'll do all this for free. You send me everybody that wants to do those deals, and then we'll sell them some stuff. And we didn't even have to give them a percentage. My first deal was $100,000. So I went immediately and rented a house for a year, bought a car, and I was like, all right, now I have nothing to worry about. I'm just going to keep going. I turned that into a $800,000 business. And then, unfortunately, 2008 hit, and it was my first ever recession. From there, I said, man, like, I can't really do more of this. Like, this is not the industry that I'm supposed to be in. I started doing stuff online, and I started learning how to build funnels, buy media, go to events. And from there on, I built some agencies. I've worked with some people that are, prominent and like kind of high level in their niches. And they were like, hey, I don't have the money to pay you, but what if we partnered? I was like, sure, let's give it a shot. One of those first guys that we did something with turned into an $11 million business that we ended up turning into a supplement business that sold. And so I was like, man, this is a business model. Let me do it again and again and again. And so that's my main business model still now. We partner with the right people, help them build their brand, scale it, and either sell it or just have it as a massive profit center. And at the same time, we still have agencies in different verticals that do specific stuff like social media growth, content distribution, funnels, etc. Mostly focusing, some are focused specifically on e-commerce and some are focused specifically on personal brands.
Okay, so essentially, you just grow anything and everything when it has to do with brands, ecom, personal brand. Basically,
we're
that's
even
it.
talking to a roofing company right now that we might take some equity in and scale it out in Orlando.
Now, like with most of these companies, are you buying into their brands? Are they paying you? Or is it just a pure equity play? You're just hopping in as a partner?
So we do, when it comes to that side of the business, we do what I call kind of like a date before we get married thing. We do 3 months of you paying us less than what we normally charge to see if we can do two things. See if we know, like, trust each other. I say, like, if it turns out to be something that, like, we want each other at each other's houses and barbecues, then that's a good fit. And if it's something that I can present in my daughter's school, then this is a good product. And so those are kind of like my two big things. It has to be something ethical, good, something that we're proud of that I can present, that my daughter can, like, brag about, like, oh, my dad does this.
Yeah.
And you've got to be the kind of guy that I want at my house. You've got to know my kids and stuff, because a partnership is a marriage.
Right.
Right. And so, like, those are my two kind of caveats. You can't just jump into that. And so we omit a lot of our expenses. You are also paying a little bit of the expenses, so we both have skin in the game. And then after 3 months, we reassess. Sometimes it takes 6. Sometimes it just is a profit share relationship because we're like, this is good the way it is.
Yeah.
And oftentimes it does turn into, we probably 1 to 2 people a year we actually end up getting equity in.
Got it. So, I mean, what are you doing for these brands initially during this ramp-up period?
For the most part, these are people that are doing $20,000, $30,000 a month. They're doing it in an organic fashion, whether it's e-commerce or whether it's a personal brand. They're kind of doing some Instagram stuff, maybe some TikTok stuff, and they're like, I kind of got a funnel. I take all my phone calls. I do all my sales. I'm doing one-to-one. And so we come in and turn that into a system. We do one-to-many. We start adding a funnel that we actually grow traffic to. We start doing content distribution and, like, making that person a bigger brand. And that's kind of like the first phase of what we do. Once that one offer that used to be one-to-many, one-to-one starts becoming one-to-many, we start building out Ascension. So we start building out a sales team. We start creating Ascension. Do you want to do a mastermind? Do you want to do another service business? Like, what's the best fit for the product that we're selling right now?
Right. That makes complete sense. So, I mean, you're obviously helping them on the strategy side of things, but it sounds like you're also doing a lot of things for them.
Yeah, most of our equity is baked in through essentially omitting payment through service, right? Because we charge anywhere from $15,000 to $20,000 a month to do the work. So we're saying no to that because we know that we can take this thing to $1 million a month or something more.
Right. Instead of making $20,000 a month, you
we
want to
get
make
100,
$200,000 a month.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. No, that makes complete sense. It sounds a lot like what my buddy Alex Hormozy's doing.
Yeah, it's very similar. We just have a few different. He kind of does it. He's at the place right now where he just kind of come in on an operational, tactical, like, strategic
Consultant
advising
type level.
consultant. We still work with people where they need a team. They don't have that team yet, right? So we work with people that are doing 30,000 to 100,000. He's grabbing somebody that's doing 3 million, so they already have team,
They already
systems,
got structure,
culture, et cetera. Yeah.
Yeah, and so they're just missing like strategic things that are going to take them to the next level, whereas the people you're going after are missing a lot.
Yeah. We kind of become that system for them.
Very cool. That is cool. And it's good to hear that there's multiple, like if you're listening, somebody may have saw the Hormozy podcast and they're saying, well, man, I don't make $3 million a year. Like, how the heck am I going to get to $3 million a year? And you're like, come to us.
Right.
We'll help you get there. And then, you guys, one day there's going to be the deal where it's you, Hormozy, and whoever all on the same deal.
That'll be a good deal.
Yeah.
That'd be a strong deal.
That company is going to be pretty good.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what are some things that you're doing? Like, is it just running a lot? I mean, obviously, I know that with scaling a company, it takes marketing, it takes sales team, it takes, building fulfillment out. But, like, from our initial conversations, I always pictured you more on the marketing side with ads and everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, I mean, honestly, the majority of really what I think people are missing at the beginning is just even mindset. It's just they're partnering or working with you in some capacity because they don't know what's next. They've mastered one thing, and that feels good and comfortable. They're unwilling sometimes to invest into themselves because they've never had to do that, and they don't want to give up something. What if it sucks? What if I lose the investment? They're not business people yet, right? They're intrapreneurs, kind of running into entrepreneurs, but afraid to kind of take that next leap because like everyone, business is a game of losses until you find your wins, right? And the more losses you get, the better victories you have, right? Because they're all learning experiences. And they have not learned that yet, right? So the first thing is mindset. The second thing that I see is people don't have a diversified way of getting clients, right? Like they have, hey, I'm doing my Insta, and I'm doing 20, 30, 40,000 a month. That's awesome. What else? Well, I get referrals from that, and that's kind of it. Do you have a strong referral system? Referrals, Are you creating content elsewhere? Not really. Are you spending money on ads and testing that? No, not really. And so they don't have another way. So if this shut down algorithmically or something, like they'd be done, right? And so we try to implement something where we can have an escape plan just in case something happens there. And then the third thing is they're running one offer. Usually they are the bottleneck because they are fulfilling, they are doing the sales, they are still customer support.
Right.
It's them. So we start putting in a system and a team to alleviate that and give them their time back so they can think through what's next for this person. How do I support this customer better?
How many of these people would you say are like content? Because I've thought, so I'll take a step back. Like I've thought about this from the content creator side, and I've said, you know what? Maybe one day I'm going to go partner with guys who've got, 5 million followers plus, and, they don't really have a business, and I'm going to go partner with them and build a business, right? Based on what their audience would like, based on what they're passionate about, whatever, right? And I've kind of already done this with Graham Stephan. Him and I started a fund together, right? He's got a huge following. I said, dude, we'll handle the back end.
Right.
We know how to do this. Let's just partner up on it. And so we did that equally. And it's going great. And I think it kind of sets the framework for doing that for other things, right? It just so happened he was real estate, so it's very easy for us to do.
Right.
But I guess for you, are you going after people who have good followings or just like good businesses? Like what's the deal?
Mostly I'm focused on people that are entrepreneurs now. And the difference here is I've worked and made a ton of money with what we would call creators, right? People in fitness spaces, other spaces, and they have 2, 3, 4, 7 million followers. And so you come in, you build a product or service or a e-commerce business, all the way even to sell it, but they stay creators. They care about two things. You care about building a business, the bottom line, P&Ls, cash flow, how to scale, what's next. And they care about, do my guys like me? Are my impressions growing? That's it. That's what they care about. And so oftentimes why we don't work too much with them now until we teach them. We have a program that teaches them how to create this first now. So the reason is I started doing this with a lot of people, and I was sending them $150,000 checks on their percentages. Right. And then they would go to Hawaii, which is fine, totally cool. But then they would be like, hey, you do the rest, bro. And I'm like, well, I'm not you. I need your ads. I need your content. You are the fuel. I'm the engine, right? We still need you to to do the thing. But with an entrepreneur, that guy wants to know what's next.
He knows, yeah.
And so it works out better for us now. We're more focused on people that are entrepreneurial.
That's a really good point. And, it is something that I've talked to Graham about many times, just with, hey, we got to promote more than you're used to maybe promoting other things.
My guys aren't going to like it. It's like, yeah, maybe, but we still have to do it.
Yeah, and look, his audience is very based on, him not being a sales guy, and providing value. And that's great, but there's always a way to, promote and sell in a good way.
Yeah, I believe that you're not selling anything. You are pushing things that you believe support the person that's following you.
Right.
And if you're doing it from that context, it's not a sale. It's like, listen, this is going to help you. This is going to be good for you. If you're pushing, and you can see there's a lot of influencers that want that $5,000, $10,000 check, they'll push anything, and that feels like that, right? And so there's a huge difference inside of that.
Yeah, no, 100%. So tell me a little bit, I guess, with all these brands you own, how many brands are there at this point that you're partner in?
We're involved in about 12.
12 brands, okay. How many of those were brands that, you started from scratch where you're the engine and the, face?
4.
Okay, 4. And so the other 8 are, your
Other
partners
people.
with these other
Yeah.
people. What are the 4 ones that you're currently doing?
They're Powerhouse Brands, which is our main mastermind.
Okay.
It's me and my partner, Josh Snow. So we teach e-commerce and creators. We have different divisions on that, how to build and scale sellable businesses.
Okay.
We all recently just bought a brokerage because, especially on the ecom side, we want people to build something that they can sell because the e-commerce is kind of like a savings account. It's not really like you're not getting a ton of money, even if you're making a ton of gross revenue, right?
Right.
And so the brokerage allows them to sell that. We have an e-commerce that Andrew over here back there runs, which is email and SMS to support them to build lifetime value. So we bring them in, we see where they're wrong. We have services to support it, and then we have an opportunity for them to sell it. And then we have the same thing with creators. So we have creator brands, which helps people build funnels. Then we have creator ads, which helps on the ad side. And then we have Empire Social, which helps people on the social media. So that's kind of like, it's actually 6 now.
So essentially, all your actual businesses are geared towards helping the people that you're going to end up partnering with anyway.
Right, yeah.
So you already have it all built out.
Throughout the entire funnel, yeah. And so you start with coaching in some way or a mastermind, then you go into services, then you go into potentially looking at selling your business.
If you're listening to this podcast, then my guess is you're interested in real estate investing. Some of you are just starting out, while others are trying to scale their business to the next level. But the problem is, with so much information out there, most people don't know which program or coach to trust. Well, I'm a bit biased, but I believe my company, Future Flipper, can help you get to the next level. We've coached thousands of students from all over the world on how to build their real estate investing business. It doesn't matter whether you want to flip, wholesale, or buy rentals. Our coaching program has everything you need to become a great investor. There are many things that we include with coaching, but to give you a few examples, you're going to get an accountability coach. These are people that have had success in their own business, and they want to make sure that you achieve success in yours. We also have all of our documents, our systems, and processes that I've used to buy hundreds of homes. You can copy and paste them directly into your own business. And we have events where you get to meet me, top-level guest speakers, and other students who are crushing it. My students do deals with each other, and I personally do deals with them too. In fact, at a recent event, I just honored over 20 people in our program that made over $1 million in the last year. So if you want to grow your real estate business, head over to futureflipper.com and apply for a call with our team. The call is completely free, and they can help point you in the right direction whether you work with us or not. So go to futureflipper.com and book your call today. For the last year, the real estate market has been on absolute fire. Prices are at all-time highs, interest rates are at all-time lows, and there is more money in the economy than ever. But with so much competition, many investors are sitting on cash, struggling to find great deals. If this sounds like you, then you need to invest with Pineda Capital. With my network and social media following, we get access to the best real estate deals all over the country. And if you're an accredited investor, you can invest with me on those deals. In fact, last year we purchased a 334-unit apartment complex in Georgia for almost $20 million. We expect it to be worth well over $30 million when it's all said and done. Our goal with each deal is to build in so much equity from the beginning that we're able to refinance our investors' cash out and own the properties together with little to no money into the deal. And the best part is, you don't have to do anything. Our team will find the deals, handle the renovations, get them leased, and eventually refinanced or sold. All you have to do is provide the capital. So if you want exclusive access to our deals before they hit the public, go to pinedacapital.com to schedule a call. We can put your money to work today to start getting you great returns. So go to pinedacapital.com now to get access to our deals. That's awesome. Yeah, I've, as I've gotten in the ecom side, just seeing like a lot of these ecom brands and how they sell and everything else is pretty amazing. So let's actually talk about ecom. Like you started off selling Bose, accidentally the second biggest Bose distributor.
Yeah, accidentally from college dorm room, pushing it out. And I was an idiot. All the money I made, I spent on being cool downtown and buying bottles and being the complete douchebag that I was at 20 years old. But, I was a kid. I learned a lot of lessons. I learned exactly what I wanted to do. Once I actually made money again, I was like, I'm never going to do anything like that again, right?
Right.
Yeah, man, nothing has changed. Still, people make money on e-commerce through eBay. Now they have Facebook Marketplace. You've got Amazon. You've got Shopify. You've got opportunities to even sell directly now through the shop of Instagram, and TikTok's doing the same. And so there's so many ways to build and grow an e-commerce business. I think the big thing, if you're looking at starting an e-commerce business or growing an e-commerce business, is the way that I say, we have a lot of people. We got about 150 people on the e-com side are in our mastermind right now. And I always tell them, listen, e-commerce is your savings account. You should build something to create that checking account. And so if you're doing it and you can prove it and you can show, look at me, I'm doing that, you should create some sort of a personal brand that helps, consults. You don't have to make a product and build a coaching and do a mastermind, but you can be some sort of consultant and create that cash flow for yourself so you can put all your eggs back in the basket of creating new SKUs, new products, new branding, new energy inside of the e-commerce business, because the more you feed that beast, the more it will grow, the more valuation it will end up having, the more opportunity it has to grow.
Right.
Because those businesses need cash flow.
Right. So with most e-com brands you're doing, is it pretty much all just, private label, just stuff that you're creating from scratch?
Yeah, we create when we come into an e-com business, we don't work with. We help drop shippers turn into real brands,
Right.
For the most part, and just because you can't sell a drop shipping business,
Right. Yeah, and you're trying to build assets that are, for the future.
we want to help them build recurring revenue. We want them to build communities. We want them to build something that increases the valuation for them and allows them to create something that they can sell. And we always try to, even to our demise sometimes, we always try to get them to sell before. We always say, like, when you're feeling confident and conceited about your brand, when you're bragging about it, that's time to get rid of it. We had a guy, we took him from $300,000 a month to $4 million a month.
Wow.
And I had offers of people that wanted to buy it. And he comes to me and he's like, dude, I don't think you get it. We're a $1 billion business. And I was like, bro, we're not a $54 million business. This needs to be done tomorrow. Put all that money in your pocket. And then you're an entrepreneur. Do
Go
the
start
next
something
thing
else.
the next day. But I'd rather give you all that money today instead of thinking that you're a $1 billion guy. That's the big thing with e-com guys. They see these numbers. They go 1, 10, 100. But there's 15, 20, 25. It's a big road. So I don't know why they jump and just 10x it, because it's a different play. You need a different entrepreneur. I think a different entrepreneur has to run that company. Once you get to 40, 50 million, you need real C-level people. You need a full suite. You can't be really involved. You got to be a founder in that
Right.
kind of a business.
Right. So with those guys, right, like you teach this a lot in your mastermind. Like, what's the step by step? Somebody wants to create an actual e-com brand that's going to, have a lot of value down the road. What does it look like?
First off, find something unique. Find something that's a little bit of a blue ocean, right? Don't just go sell dog collars. Go sell dog IVs, right? And dog IV water, because it's replenishing and it supports people. And then increase that with new SKUs. Test it, create it, and then start creating new SKUs. Build enough SKUs to where you have a couple of hero products that you can test, because some might go down, some up. Try to build something that gives you an opportunity to both be in Amazon, but also have a strong average order value that you can spend money on Shopify and direct response. And then focus on building a lifetime value for that customer. Everyone focuses on like, oh, I'm doing $10K a month and I'm bringing in 15. Okay, well, there's shipping, logistics, costs, like that. You're not making a lot of money. But if you focus on your lifetime value, on that recurring, on that subscription, that's the money that you're actually getting to keep. And people don't put a lot of time into that. They don't
Right.
put a lot of time into new product drops and SKUs and launches. And so that's kind of the horizon that I would say that you need to focus on.
Yeah. That's interesting. I forgot. I connected you with my buddy Steve Borelli, the CEO of Cuts, and just seeing how, aggressive they are with their marketing, and they're great marketers.
Yeah, they are.
But they also build great products.
Yeah, I love Cuts. And the thing is, with Cuts, he gets it. He spends a lot of money on influencers. He spends a lot of money on brand. He stays not doing sales. And that's a big thing. A lot of times people become what we call sale brands. And then just, hey, things aren't working. Run a sale, and then run a sale. And then you get your buyers used to, well, there's
Everything's on sale.
Yeah, and so why would I buy you when you're not? And so that affects you on your average order values. That affects you on your recurring. And so we try to tell people, have a sale when it's time to have a sale. We're about to hit 4th of July.
Yeah,
Run a
that's a
4th
sale.
of July special.
Right.
If not, there's nothing special about a sale because you're a cheap brand.
Right. Yeah, you don't want it to be that. So, I mean, obviously, when you're starting brands like that, it's a lot of work coming up with a product and everything. Like, how do you got to have some level of creativity to do that?
Yeah, you have to have creativity, but the biggest thing you have to have is a long-term horizon for like your brand, right? Like everyone sees drop shipping, 20,000, 30,000 a day, whatever. But what you don't understand of those brands, because we have people that come to us all the time. They're like, man, I'm broke. Well, you did 20K yesterday. Yeah, but now that funnel, that ad, that drop shipping thing is being done by 14 people. I made $2,000 and I don't have a product. I don't have more SKUs. I've got to come in and spend all the money I made on trying to find something new. So really try to build something. I think try to build something with the end in mind and have a time horizon for that. Don't be like, hey, I'm going to do $100 million. I've never launched anything. I've launched like my second brand ever, and now I want to do $100 million. Why don't we try to build something that the next 3 years we could sell for $5 to $10 million? Give us that knowledge, give us that understanding, and then when I have more money in my pocket, I have more momentum to build the next business.
Right, 100%. So we were talking pre-show just about, Amazon and Shopify and Facebook and all these things, like, and just how quickly all of them are always changing. Like, what have you seen in the space over the last 5-10 years, just having to always pivot?
I mean, that's it. Like everything has changed every time. I've been around for 15 years, right? So I saw Amazing Selling Machines launch. I saw the first batch of people do the Amazon stuff. One of my best friends is actually a billionaire now who bought the product. He has now sold 4 companies and learned how to like take that to the next level. And it started on Amazon, right? And I've seen a lot of people just continuously do the fly-by-night thing and like recycle new things because the lack of focus is there because something happens and they'll pivot into something else. And I think that the sign of a true entrepreneur is when there is an algorithm change, there is something, you double down. Yeah. But you've got to build a business that supports that. And that goes back into like being a business owner, right? A lot of times we talk to people, let's say you did $3 million your first year because it was COVID and you got lucky. Cool. Right. You bought a Lambo. And now you're like, I know I can get it again. But instead, I would have said, how about you make $60K that year and you keep $400,000 in that account. And now you have products, SKUs, opportunities. You can invest in SEO, which is going to be a loss leader for an entire year. But year 2, it starts to build a moat around your business. You start to invest in content marketing, which is going to do nothing for you. But year 2, no one can compete with that. That's how people should look at those really any type of business. I think the people that win are the people that look at a business as a long-term investment, like you would look at a home and like, hey, I'm going to make money from this forever instead of just a cash cow. The ones that fail are just raping and pillaging the business, and that's just not how anybody will succeed. And you'll see here in the next few years, a lot of people go down in both industries, in personal brands and in e-commerce. And it's because they were running cash flow based businesses, like hustles. They were not running companies.
Right.
Because people like you and I are stoked. Like, I can't wait because everything will be on sale, from houses to businesses to Facebook groups to everything. Right.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of stuff that we can buy for sure.
Yeah.
It's funny, like you're talking about buying Facebook groups and stuff, but it's like, yeah, I've heard, if somebody's got a Facebook group of 50,000 people, it's a pretty valuable asset.
100%. Yeah. If they have good engagement, like, it's guaranteed money.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it's all about traffic, right? We're all buying impressions.
Right.
And so if that group has impressions and it has loyalty,
right,
I'll go buy it because it's the same thing as buying a media property. It's the same thing as buying Forbes magazine.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, I think, as I've been in ecom for, over a year and a half now, I've kind of seen, like all business, I see similarities from everything, right? I'm like, oh yeah, the education business, the real estate business, the ecom business, crypto even, like they all have pretty much the same aspects of business. But, like the biggest conclusion I've come down to is like, there's 2 ways to go about, ecom, right? You can do what you're saying and build a brand, and it's extremely difficult, but if you do it right, the payoff is huge. The other side is drop shipping, and That's just, you're not really going to build an asset. You're just going to be making money every month if you can do it successfully.
Yeah.
And it reminds me a lot of the whole Airbnb thing with real estate. It's like you can buy the house and Airbnb it and own the asset. And, in the long run, you're going to own a nice house, or you can, lease it out if, you can't buy one, and you can definitely make some money and cash flow, and, but you don't own it.
But the big thing too is what you do with it, because you could arbitrage Airbnb, and you can get 7 houses instead of 3 because you just have to put $10,000 on, put lipstick on the pig, and now you're getting some good cash flow from that. But are you investing in owning some of your homes? Are you investing when you're doing drop shipping in a car, or are you going to buy a house and doing like one residential a month?
Using the
because I
money
have the
drop
cash
shipping
flow?
gives you to do something else.
Like it's okay to do it if you're doing something with it. If not, you're creating your own grave, I think.
Yeah, you're not reinvesting. I mean, and that goes back to any money you make.
For sure.
Yeah.
Right. But I think there's so little education of that. And that's why people like in the internet marketing space don't like quote unquote gurus and stuff like that. It's because no one tells people, hey, that what you're about to do with your money is a horrible idea. Like you should, you don't even got to give it to me. Like, don't give it to anybody. Buy a house, buy some properties, buy some assets, buy some stocks.
Yeah.
Invest the money in you and keep something for the long term, because that's why you built it. You built it to be stable and to create freedom. But now you're stripping your freedom because you want to have some sort of comparison to somebody.
Right. So one thing I've been thinking about is, as it relates to ecom, right, is buying traffic, right? Like one of the benefits to drop shipping on Amazon is that you don't necessarily have to buy traffic, right? Amazon provides all the traffic. And we were talking about this earlier, pre-show, where you're saying like, well, direct response, you got to buy all the traffic. Shopify, you got to buy traffic. Like, what are you seeing as like the pros and cons of both of those ways?
I think the answer is doing them both. Like I said, Shopify is a river and it has a continuous stream. And Amazon's a river, has a continuous stream, and Shopify is a faucet. You turn it on and off. So one can go off and it's not going to keep going. The way you supplement both is by doing Amazon and then going into Shopify and having it support it, and then blending that average order value compared to like what you're spending, right? Also, you could work with influencers, right? There's a lot. And when I say influencers, it used to be like we worked with Floyd Mayweather, Gronkowski, a bunch of big people. Now it's Tom, Dick, and Harry.
Yeah, the micro-influencers.
It's user-generated content. It's small people and running ads through that. It's, again, impressions. It's building that. It's cheaper, but people don't want to do those reach-outs, don't want to test that out. It's harder nowadays than it used to be just giving someone $5K for them to swipe up. But that swipe up's not worth $5K anymore. It's worth $600, and now you lost the money. And they're not doing it as genuine as they used to because they get just 1 million people to offer that, right? And so it's combining everything depending where you are in your business. I would start, depending on what kind of business I have. If it's something that has a good average order value, I'd start with Shopify. If not, I'd start with Amazon. And I'd start building if I'm doing Amazon, I'd start to work through something SKU-wise that starts to allow me to sell bundles or something bigger, because I'm going to need a bigger average order value on Shopify than I am on Amazon.
Right. So if you bundle them all together, you're getting that average order value
You
that
got
you're
to
looking
bump it
for.
up a little, yeah.
Right. What do you think about, Facebook Marketplace, Facebook Shops, Instagram Shops, all this stuff that's happening?
I think it's going to be a great thing as an addition. I mean, Facebook Shops are, it's a great way to build a good hustle business that, you're not going to build a huge business off Facebook Shops just because of the amount of people and the amount of product there. I think Instagram Shop, allowing you to sell your products, is a great addition. It has not yet scaled for a lot of people, but it's the best way to start introducing influencers and connecting that and start moving people into a story. I think if I used that and I used influencers, I'd move people into a community, Discord or Facebook, and I'd start to create an ambassador program based off that.
As the world starts to go more digital, you need to be aware of which businesses are going to thrive in the future. One of the obvious ones is e-commerce. In fact, last year, e-commerce sales did over $4 trillion globally, and it's continuing to grow. Now, if you're like most people, you probably don't have time to learn a whole new industry and start a new business. But there is another way. You could partner with us at Lunar Ecom. We have over 300 e-commerce stores that we have created and managed for our clients. And the best part is, it's completely passive on their end. The business model is very simple. You cover the cost of creating and running the store. We handle everything else. We pick the products, we handle fulfillment, returns, and customer satisfaction. After all that, we split profits at the end of the month. This means that when you win, we win. If you want to learn more about how it works, you can watch our case study at lunarecom.com. I believe that the e-commerce space is going to continue to explode as the world goes digital. So make sure you're with the right partner who's going to be ahead of those trends. So go schedule a call with my team today at lunarecom.com if you want to learn about how we can start taking your passive income to the moon. Most people want to get rich at all costs. They make sacrifices with their family, their health, and their faith, all in the pursuit of money without even realizing it. But what if I told you it doesn't have to be that way? What if you could grow your wealth in all areas of life? Well, it's possible, and that's why I created The Wealthy Way. It's a community of people striving to grow together in all areas. And we have multiple tools for you to use that are completely free. You can get access to the Wealthy Way Planner, where you can set goals and hold yourself accountable on a daily basis. We also have our Wealthbuilder Academy, which is over 4 hours of content teaching you how to manage your time, create the right goals, and all the biggest secrets I've used to grow my life, not only in my net worth, but in all aspects. Lastly, we have our Discord community where thousands of wealth builders are all over the world encouraging one another and growing together. And once again, all of this is completely free. There are no upsells, there are no hidden catches. For me, this is a passion project and I want to build a community of like-minded people. So if you want to start living the wealthy way today, go to wealthyway.com. There you can get all the free resources like the course, planner, and Discord community. So go to wealthyway.com.
I like that.
Yeah, I think, brands like Cuts and stuff have done a great job at that.
Right. Everyone wants to get free stuff. Everyone wants to feel like, hey, Cuts sent me stuff. You can get a discount from mine. But the play that I would do, we did this with one of our brands that we sold. We had an influencer launch an ambassador program, and we said, for you to be in the program, you have to be subscribed to one of our products monthly. Because the reality is those guys aren't going to create a ton of sale, but all the people that want to be a part of the community and growth and a part of those goodies that you're doing as an ambassador, look at First Form, that's what they do. You have to be subscribed. You're generating hundreds of thousands or maybe even millions of dollars from those people.
Right. So when you're starting these brands, like how much testing does it take, right, before you finally find a winner?
So we don't start brands anymore. We usually just come in on stuff. But if you're doing e-commerce, I'll give you both examples. If you're doing e-commerce, there is a ton of testing that you should do drop shipping. I would do the testing more than anything. If I'm doing drop shipping, I'd probably want to do it on Shopify.
Right.
You can create a general store, see what's working, double down on that, and like keep growing through there. And if you're doing personal brand stuff, I would test it on Instagram. Because you can have the conversations, the community, the relationship, right? Let's say I am a dentist that now wants to teach other dentists to make money or something like that, right? I can start talking about my second location and how I'm doing that and the revenue that I'm generating. If you want some support, some help, DM me help, and 5 people, I'm going to do a beta test program. And so you can start testing some stuff for free.
Right.
If you're testing, you want to keep it as lean as possible because you don't know what's going to work.
Right. 100%. Yeah, and that's what I love about just e-com and business in general now. It's like there's so many ways to test whether your business is going to work without you having to go lease an office space,
Right.
hire all these guys. Like you can pretty much see your demand. I still do it to this day. Like, it's funny. I did one golf event where it was 10 people, that we did a 2-day golf mastermind. You had to be making over 7 figures. I said, hey, I'm not sure if I'm going to do this or not, but here's kind of what it might look like.
Right.
We're going to have 10 people. You got to make 7 figures. And, it's probably going to be like 10 grand to come, but we're going to play 2 courses here in Vegas. We're going to mastermind after we play rounds, and it's going to be great.
And you can do that at any scale. I mean, I just left one of our mutual friends, and we're talking about doing some stuff and helping him in something. He's like, well, how do I start it? And I'm like, you go on Instagram and you say, hey, I've got it downstairs. It fits 50 people. I don't even know if I'm going to have 50, but the first 30 to say yes, we're going to give you a goodie. You're going to come down here, and this is what we're going to cover. That's it. It's going to be limited to that. Until 30 people say yes, I might expand it to 50. It's true. It's honest. He's got the audience for it, and boom, he can sell it. That's the best way to create. You can create cash flow to follow your idea now more than you ever could in the world.
Right. 100%. Yeah. And like, I wasn't sure if people would really want to do it, but all of a sudden, like, it wasn't even a thing. And, I got enough response where they were like, yeah, dude, like, what's the dates? What's the dates? And
Now it's
I'm
like a full thing you do, right? Like golf with Ryan.
yeah, that was another one, right? Like I did the golf with Ryan thing where I was like, I don't even know if anyone would do this, but if you want to start golfing with me, here's what it looks like. Like we'll play a full day and it's, 18 holes. We'll have lunch and you get 5 hours with me. And I don't even do any one-on-one period.
Right.
And I was like, I don't even know. It'd be like $2,500. If anyone wants to do it, just let me know.
Right.
And dude, literally 20 people signed up. And I was like, okay, I think I underpriced it. And so, now it's $5,000, but every month people come golf with me and it's just like, it's a product.
Yeah. We used to not work on Fridays at our office, and we started to get bored. We're like, hey, what if we do Flying Fridays? And I announced it, and I was like, hey, if you guys want to come down to the office, 3 people at a time, we'll work you the entire day. We'll take you out to lunch after that. It'll be a whole fun thing. It's $5,000. Now it's 10. And every Friday sold out.
Yeah.
And it's awesome because, like, it's cash flow, it's relationships, it sells our services, people come into the mastermind, et cetera. And so it's turned into another sector of what we can sell as an offer.
Yeah. And that's actually what I didn't realize from the golf thing. And like, by the way, if it wasn't golf and if it was that, we'd be able to do so much more.
Right.
But I just love golf. And so I'm like, if you don't golf, I guess tough luck. But yeah. But what I did notice from golf is that a lot of people who I golf with end up being business, partners or
Right.
like affiliates or something. Like they're obviously, if you're going to go spend $5,000 at golf, you got something going on.
Right.
You're not there just to play golf only.
Yeah.
Right. And so it just kind of also shows seriousness and everything else.
Yeah. We live in a place that it is a pay-to-play life nowadays, right? Like I've paid $100,000 to go into groups, and I loved it. It was worth it for me because I knew what I was going to get out of it, right? And I think everyone, I'm a big believer in, like, if you want to accelerate your relationships, your connection, or a potential business partnership, pay it. Pay for the coaching, pay for the tutelage, pay for the relationship. Why not? If you can accelerate and time collapse that, it's giving you everything that you want to do in the span of maybe a golf session.
Right. No, 100%. It's funny because, I've obviously paid for masterminds and different things, and I've been fortunate enough to, basically put myself out there so much with social media that, people are obviously willing to pay me, but like I'm able to also get in
Go
front
to a lot
of
of
people
them for free. Yeah.
Yeah, like, it's like I'm going to go see Patrick Bet-David. Last week I was with Ryan Serhant. I literally just got off the phone with Pete Vargas, and he's like, hey, Grant Cardone wants to throw this private event. It's going to be like 50 people max, probably going to be at his house. Do you want to go? And, he didn't say a price or anything. I'm like, yeah, I want to go. Like, where do I pay? Like, he's like, no, it's going to be free. It's just it's an exclusive event. I'm like, man, I guess it's nice being known.
Yeah. No, I'm doing a yacht thing with him in September. Same. We'll talk about it. I'll tell you about it because you're probably coming too.
I'm going to get invited to another thing. There we go, baby.
Yeah. But no, it's the best, man. But it takes forever. I mean, you've been doing this less, but you've been so aggressive about it, right? Like I've been doing this for 15 years. And I mean, I call you when I need like content growth ideas, like your team's now helping me with like my crappy thumbnails, which I appreciate.
Yeah, dude. So tell me about that, right? You've done every form of, you mentioned earlier, like impressions. That's the name of the game, right? How many impressions can you get? Whether it's for your personal brand, whether it's for an ecom product or a digital product, like you're always just trying to get eyeballs. And so, you can pay for eyeballs, and then, there's a whole bunch of ways to pay for those eyeballs, or you can create content. And then if your content's good and the algorithms like you get those eyeballs for free. Mm-hmm. I've noticed from our conversations, you're kind of switching to the organic side.
Yeah. I mean, I've spent $200 million online, right? With my brands and other people's brands, et cetera. And forever, I thought brand was stupid. I was like, I don't need that. I can just run traffic and like beat everybody. And that is just not the case anymore. Like, it's not like people can see that. That does not anymore mean a conversion as immediate as it used to be. right? People are taking 7 to 11 times to get to know you. High-end masterminds and stuff are 6-month touches of like consistency and stuff like that, getting to know, like, and trust you. All of that makes sense. And so I've got to start doubling down on the content and the value and the connection that we're doing for our brands and for myself, right? And I've seen what it does with you, Hermosi, and some other friends. I'm like, man, like, it's insane. Because I have the studio, I have all the stuff. I'm just half-ass committing to it because I'm fully committed to the other. But the truth is, I kind of see this as the future. I think that I could stop running ads for my brand, personal brand today, and then we have 6 months coming in for the rest of the year. And then the next 6 months, I will get more impressions and growth than all the media that I spent over the first 6 months, maybe even over the last year. Right. And it's its own effort. It's really production. It's really learning from people, getting help, consistency. Because I'm not going to do one video a day. We're planning on doing 3 to 4 shorts and TikToks and all that a day. It's finding the right ones, hiring potentially someone to help on scripts, right? But it's an investment into. At the end of the day, if I lost everything, I've always said this, I'm still Los. We can't pretend like if I lost it all and like I had nothing else, like I'm still Los. You're still Ryan. Like I can only still be a millionaire based off like just social media, right? And so if I believe that, I think I should double down on that because I believe that the future is everyone should be doubling down on that to their own accord and their own efforts, right? Like maybe you can't do 3 or 4 things a day, but like what I do know, and I've seen you and some other people that I respect out of it, it's consistency. It's wealth building, right? And what I mean by that is like, you're not going to do it fast. Like it's something that one day compounds and you're like, oh, it's here.
You're like, holy crap.
This is really cool, right?
Yeah.
But like you can't expect like that day to be like in a month and a half or 3 months or whatever. It'll come when it comes.
Yeah. I started doing it full time during COVID, and I remember looking at it, and I had the same dilemma that many entrepreneurs who are successful have, where they're like, man, well, if I put all this time towards this, I'm going to lose money in what I currently do because it's taking time away from that.
Yeah.
And I remember sitting there looking at the world and everything, and I said, you know what? I think it's still worth the cost. Like, even if I lose whatever it cost me to lose being out of the business and focusing on this, I think it's going to be worth it. And so, I made that choice. And I made it with, like you said, the long enough time horizon where I said, you know what? I know if I do this the next 3 to 5 years, it will be good. Right. And like, I'll be where I want to be. I don't know how big that would be, but I know 3 to 5 years from now, it's going to make money. It's going to change lives and it's going to do all this stuff. Fortunately for me, it happened way quicker. It compounded really fast and I took to it really quickly. And so now it was like, within 6 months, it was already like a huge win. And it was now impacting the companies like dramatically. And so now it's just like, man, like you said, you just wake up one day and you're like, we're here.
Right. And I think it's, there's a few reasons why that worked out for you and why some people can take advantage of it a little bit better than others is one, obviously, if you're just getting started, I don't think it's the best play for you. But if you have done stuff, you can show it, and you can go, hey, we were flipping this house. Hey, I'm building this business. Hey, look at this brokerage. And people see that. They're like, all right, well, that's real. You already kind of like half the battle thing, which is like, who are you?
Yeah.
Right. Like, hey, I've done this. I've spent this. Google it. Check it out. Oh, wow. That's not a lie. So now you have a little bit of an upper hand, right? If you had just come in like you had never done anything, I think it would have been a lot harder for you. Right. But also, I think that the reason that it worked out for you is, especially in the internet marketing space, right? None of them are really consistent. They're like, I got a YouTube. I got some Insta. I got some stuff.
Yeah.
And they're spending money on ads. You said, no, this is what I'm doing, not stopping. Like Graham, same thing. You're a creator. Like you became a real creator. And I think there's a huge difference with an influencer and a creator. An influencer is doing what they can to create influence for what they need. A creator is pushing out what he thinks or she thinks that people want to see and waiting to see what the response is and creating a relationship that will pay them back when it does.
Right.
And so that's totally different.
100%. I think it's interesting too, because you're right. Like I went into it and I saw, the typical influencers in the entrepreneur space, and, you can tell it when you see it.
It's
right?
a 1-for-1.
And you're just like, yep, that it's just not like a real, I don't want to say it's not real influence. Like a lot of them are well known, but it's not like the content creators are truly known because the algorithms organically push them for everyone to see them. And, you know, in fact, they don't have to pay for it. It's just, it comes because it's that good.
You're a creator when you get paid to create the content.
Yeah,
You're an influencer when you make content and push it on ads.
exactly. Or you're, you know, you have to pay for everything else.
And
to be
there's nothing
featured.
wrong with that. It's just, I think that the other one can grow so much that you don't even need one-day ads. I really believe it.
Yeah, I mean, that's when we first talked.
Right.
You were like, you don't run ads? And
I
I'm
was
like,
shocked. You didn't have a pixel. I was like, dude, I got you. Like, let me hit. And then I started to realize he doesn't even need this. You know?
Yeah, and that's been the point is like, I'm like,
It's a nice to have, but it's not a necessity.
No, well, and two, it's easier to shift to doing the ads after the fact.
For sure.
And you're like, okay, now it's time to really hit this hard. But it's funny because I've joined other masterminds since. Like I joined one called War Room.
Yeah.
You know, which is all internet marketers. And so like I went to my first meeting a couple of months ago, and like most of them knew who I was. And you know, obviously I don't know who many of these people are because most internet marketers are unknown.
Right.
You know, like they're behind the scenes doing stuff, and they're like, man, you know, how do I build a personal brand? Like, is this gonna work? Like, how can I pay for this and pay for that? I'm like, it doesn't really work that way. Like,
Yeah.
you're gonna have like this is a long play. You're gonna have to put in work every week. You're gonna have to put out this many videos, you know, et cetera. And they're like, really? Like, you can't just do it this way? And I'm like, no, it's not gonna work.
You can't spike like a true following.
No.
You can't hire it. You have to build it from scratch, and that's why it's genuine, but that's also why it can never be taken away.
Yeah. Yeah. Even if, and you know, I don't want to jinx myself, but let's just say I lost one of my social media accounts, right? Like, it would suck having to build it back up, but it's not like all of a sudden I didn't exist anymore.
Right.
You know, I would just start making the same videos again, and people would be like, oh, okay. Like, that's the new account,
Right.
you know?
Right.
But I've seen a lot of influencers who have paid for these big followings, and then they lose it. And then it's like, we got to pay a lot. Like, they just lost a lot of money.
And I think that the other thing that I'll say too that I'm moving even more towards is, you know, I listen to the podcast sometimes because you have a great pod, and sometimes a lot of my friends are on this, and you're subtle with the ads there, but when you do the videos and everything, there's really no aggressive selling, and that's the other thing. Like, it's implied. Listen, there's stuff I have.
Right.
You can buy it. Check the link. It's fine, and that leaves people to like, dude, I'm gonna buy it. Like, you don't. When you do have an inquiry, it's a order that people are taking. It's not a sale that someone's needing to make.
Right. Yeah. Our sales guys have it a lot easier than most.
For sure.
Yeah. We call them order takers.
Right.
Yeah. Like, I've already done all the selling.
Yeah. They're coming in like, hey, here's my account. Like,
Yeah.
this is what I want.
But that's the difference too, right? Like, between a traditional internet marketer who has no idea, you know, they have to build trust within a 60-minute VSL and like get it to know who they are and all this stuff. And it's so funny that you say this because, you know, I started doing like these little 10-minute VSLs. And so for those who don't know, VSL is a video sales letter. It's just a 10-minute video to tell people like what you're selling.
What you're doing, yeah.
And mine is the exact opposite of what everyone does. I'm like, hey, so it's Ryan. Here's the cost of the product. And, you know, here's why it's tight.
Yeah.
And then I do it. And then, you know, it's funny because I've had multiple people like, this is literally like the dumbest sales letter ever. And I'm like, this sales letter crushes.
Yeah, I mean, when I first looked at your funnel, I was like, bro, there's so much we can improve. And as I started doing this, I was like, there's no need to improve it because you don't even want to. Your refund rate's probably zero. Everything is perfect. And like the ascension to everything is perfect because you've built real know, like, and trust. And that's the biggest thing that I think that people need to do nowadays and is understand, like, if I'm making a commitment in this business, sure, you can do direct response. We can help you on funnels. You can grow your business. But what you're doing is what everybody should do until it works out. And when that is, I don't know. They don't know.
It can take years and years.
But you're right. Like, you are right in doing it. And when you see your 100 views, one day you'll see your 1,000 and one day you'll see your 50,000.
Yep.
But if you stop, it's all for naught.
And that's the thing too. I've seen a lot of, and you mentioned consistency earlier, but like I've seen a lot of people do it and they'll do it for a month. They don't like the results and they'll stop.
Right.
And it's like, would you do that with Facebook ads and stuff? Like,
right.
No, you know that your business would die if you just stopped
Exactly.
it tomorrow. Like, so why would you do that with content?
Right.
It's just like this double standard. But I honestly, you had mentioned earlier that you think people starting out maybe shouldn't focus on it. And I'm kind of like, I actually had this conversation with people who golf with me yesterday. They were like, so like, what's the key with creating content? This is honestly like the conversation I have most with entrepreneurs now, because they're starting to see what you see.
Right.
They're like, I get it. This is the future. And I'm like, there's 3 types of people, right? There's this person who's on the far side where they're brand new, they got nothing going on, they have nothing to lose. I'm like, it's very easy for that person to create content because they're not busy. They can definitely go dedicate some hours to content. They can go dedicate hours to building a business. Like, it's cool. You have people like me on the other side who, have got a business that's pretty well run and delegated. And so, me stepping out isn't going to cripple the business. Like, I can go pursue this content thing that's, a long-term play. It's not going to take me a ton of time. But then there's this middle where the majority of entrepreneurs lie, where they're very active in their business, their day-to-day. And if they do go choose to do this content thing, it will severely cripple the business.
Right.
And so it's so hard for that person to do it, which is probably the majority of people listening to this right now, because it's just, you're doing everything. Mm-hmm. And you see those people because you're partnering with those people.
Right. Yeah. I mean, we built a content distribution business because we had to say, hey, I need these videos. You can't focus on shooting this stuff. We'll shoot and edit everything, and we'll push everything out, because it also cripples people a lot. When you don't know how to create content, like, I'm a speaker, you're a speaker, like I can just shoot a camera on and be like, hey, here we are. We did this right now, right?
Right.
But a lot of people, you'd be like, here's a camera, and they're like,
what do I say?
What do I say? How do I script? Like, it shocks them. And so we try to facilitate the system by having them come down. We shoot a few things, and then we can, operate the rest of it and just create shorts and different things like that.
Yeah. One thing I would say to entrepreneurs too, if you're in that boat where you're like, oh, I don't know how to speak and all these things, I would say there's a lot of skills that you don't know or have as an entrepreneur when you're starting, but you learn them, right? Like, I was not a great speaker when I started as an entrepreneur. I was not a great leader. I wasn't good at hiring people. I was good at doing me and being a hustler, but like all the other skills that, I needed to become a businessman and like a true entrepreneur, I had to develop over time.
Right.
So I think just, you're going to suck, and that's okay.
It's part of the journey.
Yeah.
It's part of the journey to figure out. You better always be grateful. Like, I have a gratefulness journal and stuff. And so I always go back and read. Like, I remember when I was broke enough that I would pray that I could make $500 because I was making $2,500. I could not fathom making the extra $500.
Yeah.
Right. And now I'm just, so blessed and so grateful and stuff like that. And so also remember, like, probably where you are today, like, you wanted to be there a few years ago. And so where you want to go, you will hit. Just give it time.
Yeah, no, 100%. Well, dude, I appreciate you coming out to Vegas, man. It was a blast chatting with you. And I know we're going to be doing some things together. And I'm excited to see, your personal brand develop and, see what we can do on some of my brands and things that you see that we can improve. And it's awesome, bro. I'm
stoked, man. Thanks so much for having me, bro.
Yeah,
Appreciate
bro.
it.
Appreciate you. Guys, if you got value out of this, make sure you go follow Los. He's putting out great content. Make sure you subscribe to this podcast, and we'll check you on the next one. Peace. Thanks for watching The Ryan Pineda Show. If you want to work with me, head over to ryanpineda.com. You can find my courses, coaching programs, and upcoming events. We also have free resources you can download, so head over to ryanpineda.com.